Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to do the granny pattern but in a stripy form to produce this granny stripe blanket. So it's the same as a granny square in principle, but it's worked in rows to give you this really attractive pattern. So in this sample you can see that I've used 3 rows of cream, 3 rows of yellow, orange, a tawny colour, a nice rich brown colour, red, and finally this very nice deep red colour to produce this stripy effect. And then I've put a border down the side using the same stitch. So this is all using double crochet. So let's get started and I'll show you how to do this. And right at the end I'm going to show you a little alternative which is much quicker. So let's use this yellow wool. It's not wool, it's acrylic. A sample I'm going to do. You're going to do a setup chain, which is a multiple of 3. So in this case, I am going to do 12 stitches. So you do a slip knot to start with, and then you're going to hold the yarn over your index finger of your left hand if you are right-handed. Hold the work between your thumb and your middle finger, and to do a chain we're simply going to do yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 3, 4. Can move your finger, middle finger and thumb further up the work to support it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And that's our very tiny sample base chain. Now I'm going to go up the side, if you like, by doing some extra chains. And on this foundation row, I'm going to do 3 extra chains. I'm going to keep my thumb and middle finger on this particular chain because I'm going to go into that when I have finished. 1, 2, 3. So these are the 3 extra chains here. So we're going to start off by doing, and I'll show you in the sample here, ignore this red because that's the edging. We're going to start off by doing this row here. So our first 3 chains count as a single crochet. Now there are various ways that you can do your double crochet into a foundation chain. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to show you the easiest one, which is simply to go through the top loop. Now in this instance, don't worry about making this edge super neat and tidy because you're going to put a border around the whole blanket right at the end. So to do a double crochet, we start with yarn over, we then put the hook into that top loop of that 4th stitch from the hook, draw up, so you've got 3 loops on your hook. We're going to do yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we have our 3 chain, 1, 2, 3 as our side, and our first double crochet in the next stitch, and we're going to simply double crochet all the way along. So once again, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Keep going. Because I like my granny treble stitches, the blocks of 3, to be really close to one another to give a blanket that's quite dense. It gives it a lovely texture. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're working our way along our foundation chain. Let's keep going. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and yarn over. So you try to get a rhythm so that you're relaxed. So crochet is supposed to be, you know, a mindful hobby. So make sure you're relaxed and not get worried when you've got a knot in your yarn, like I have at the moment. Simply relax. So next stitch, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over into the next one, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, nearly at the end, yarn over, pull up a loop. We're just going to finish the last stitch. Now this is where we come to the end of the row, and we're going to do another 2 rows. I think it's nice if you're doing a blanket, you could change colour every row, but I think if you're a beginner, then darning in all the ends that you get, like you get here at the end, is very time consuming. So give yourself a little bit of a chance and maybe do 2 or 3 rows. I actually think this gives a really lovely effect on a very large piece, because if you're changing colour every row, it can get very busy. So giving these blocks of colour, in my humble opinion, but give it a try, work some samples. Now we're going to start to create our traditional granny stitch. On this row, I'm actually going to do 3 turning chains, and then we will change our tune with that. So we're turning our work, and we're going to do a double crochet into this stitch just here, but only on this particular row. Now you can see I've got a little gap here. So because of the tension of my crocheting and the thickness or otherwise of this particular yarn, I'm actually going to take one of these side stitches away. And you will find that your tension will differ from mine and will differ from other experts. So I'm only doing 2 turning chains. Some patterns will call for 3, but everybody is slightly different in the way they crochet. So you just need to make sure that your double crochet matches this side 2 or 3 chain. Some people do 2, some people do 3. This gets easier as we go forward because we're going to get into a rhythm. So now we're going to do our cluster of 3 double crochet like we do in a granny square. We're going to go into this hole here between the 4th and 5th double crochet from the row below. 1, 2, 3, and a third one. Now I am not doing a chain space between my clusters, in order that if we look at this, the holes are not too big. If you want to do it where it's slightly bigger, you're going to have to adjust how you do your setup row so you don't get the wrong number of stitches. So there are various versions of the same thing, particularly with this double knitting weight yarn. I would advise not to do a stitch in between. If you go into chunky wool, you might want to do a stitch in between your clusters, but that's personal preference. We're going to keep it like this because in fact all you're doing is from now on in, apart from at the ends of rows, is doing your double crochets, so you will get into a rhythm. Now when we come to the last one, I want you to find the chain at the top of the turning chain. In fact, it was number 3, and you're going to do your last double crochet into the top of that chain. Don't do it into the gap. It looks much nicer if you can squeeze it in to the top of this chain here. 1, 2, 3. You'll find it goes really quickly. I'm going to do one more row. Now this time I'm only going to chain 2, and I'm going to turn my work. So we are, turn it back again. We are at this point here. So this is our we're now going to do our 3rd row, which is this row going here. Now when we come to this row, this is the repeat row, and you will keep repeating this backwards and forwards. This time we are actually going to do a double crochet into this first chain space. So it's like we've got half a cluster at the beginning, and then we'll do full clusters in the middle. Like so. Just follow me to the end of this row. These are going to be done quickly, and maybe not the best ever. If you do it quickly and it doesn't look right, just undo it. 1, 2, 3. So we've reached the end of this row, and now we are going to do a double crochet into the chain space, the top of the chain rather, just there. Double crochet, 2 chain, turn your work, and then you're going to match this row here. So you're going to do your first double crochet into that space just there. So each alternate row will look exactly the same, so that you can keep your edges aligned. I've worked on various methods of doing the edges. This one I think is easy to remember, doesn't require too much searching for stitches, and it keeps it nice and straight. Now you're going to say to me, but Amanda, you said you do stripes. Please, I am going to do stripes. I'm going to do stripes just straight away here. Okay, we're coming to our last 2 stitches, and we're now going to do a stripe. So we do our last double crochet into the top of our 2 turning crochet, and we don't finish this. We leave 2 loops on the stitch. We take our new colour, let's get rid of that a little bit. We take our new colour, give yourself maybe 4 inches, 10 centimetres of spare yarn, hook it over your hook and very carefully just pull it through and adjust the tension of the existing colour, the yellow colour, a little bit. And we're going to do our 2 turning chain with the new colour. 1, 2. And there we have a nice neat colour change where the yellow is properly finished off and we've got our new colour coming up the side, and then we can turn our work and start with our new colour. We're going to start with you'll darn those in so you can adjust the tension. So we start with our sole double crochet into that first chain space, just like this row here. So if you forget and go over here, don't worry, just undo it and go, oh, am I matching not the previous row, but the one below? So that's important that this matches that one. Very easy to get that wrong, and it's not, to be quite honest, if you miss it once and it's, I don't know, 50 rows back, please don't go back and change it. You're going to hide that edge when you come to do the border. Borders are great for hiding little errors, so don't worry about it. No one else but you will know. So we're going to finish this row. That's 3, 3. It is quite a good idea to check that you have got your clusters of 3 when you haven't done 2 or 4 by mistake, because there's nothing more irritating than having to undo, reams and reams of stitch, your hard work. You spent all evening doing it. So this end has to match this stitch just here. So that's simply find your top turning chain and do your double crochet into that. So there we have our change of colour. So you can work up your own pattern, your own design, use up scraps. Now I said I had a slight cheat for doing a stripy granny blanket. I'll show it to you now. So we'll put that one to the side. So this was done with a Hayfield wool, and I'll put the exact type of wool, it's this way up, the exact type of wool in the description below, so you can go and find it. Now this is a self-striping or variegated yarn. This is a chunky one, and I started to use this and I thought, oh well, this is great. And then the factory had a knot in it somewhere just there, and so the colour didn't change quite as I expected. So I would advise you, if you're going to buy self-striping yarn, please do a sample with just one ball to start with, one skein. We say ball in the UK, you say skein in, we do say skein, but we usually say one ball of wool, one ball of yarn. Test it out, because some self-striping yarns have a very short repeat and some have a very long repeat. In other words, this one, so if I show you how long it takes to change from this purple colour, you can, I'm just unwinding it a little. fact, it's probably easier just to take it off here. You can see in this ball that actually some of the colours are very short and others are much longer. So I would always recommend just using one skein of wool to do a sample at the width you're going to do it, because I've just done a scarf width here. Well, that looks quite attractive, but I suspect if I were doing a whole blanket row, we'd almost be colour changing every single row. So it depends on the effect that you want. So I hope this has been useful. It's really important to not waste too much time doing, you know, a blanket where it's going to be large and if you find you actually don't like it. This one, I quite like this, but I'm not sure I would use it for a blanket. It's great for a scarf. Finally, I thought I would show you this edge. So you can see that I started here, I worked all my way up to the top, I then turned with a turning chain and I came all the way down the side, and then I did a corner, and in the corner I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochet, actually 6, 7 double crochet. So let's go and show you how I did this border, because that's going to really finish off the work really neatly. So I'm just going to swap to this lovely ruby, really dark red actually, yarn here. So I've got to my corner. I wanted to show you this long edge because it's easy to do your clusters here, but I have worked out how to do the clusters neatly on the sides of the blanket. So we've got to the end here, and here I'm going to actually go into this hole here to make my 2 clusters, 2 double crochet for the end, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet to go round the corner, and then 2 to come up the side. I needed that number in order to make the turn a nice curve, but without it pulling at the design. Now in each row I'm going to do 2 double crochet, 1, 2. When I did this sample, it's all double knitting weight yarn, but I can tell you that some of the yarn is thicker than others. It was a very kind donation from a friend of mine, and so I'm not complaining, but this cream was thinner than this yellow, so you're going to find a difference in how your edges turn out. But in every row, in that, you go right in. Now if you find that you need an extra one, then by all means put an extra double crochet. I would rather you kept to this slightly tighter number, because you'll press this under a damp cloth at the end, and what you don't want to do is to end up stretching and becoming too loose. So I'd rather that this border was slightly tighter. You could in fact go down a hook size. That might help sort out the you could put 3 in with a smaller hook. That might be a faff and you might forget which hook you'd chosen. Top tip for remembering, if you're doing several projects at a time and your hook gets left in different parts of the house, then make a note take a photograph of your work so that you can remember which hook you're using for which project. Okay, so I won't continue up any further because that will, you can see how that would complete it. So there we are, at a request. There is the granny stripe blanket pattern. Thanks so much for watching. Do stop by again. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you've enjoyed it. Take care. Bye.